The divester movement is gaining more and more steam. This is the second time Amala Ekpanobi, I'm sure something is silent in there, but the reason I'm responding to this, reacting to the video now is because, again, this is her second video on it, and she pretty much took a stance on um, where she stands on it towards the end of the video. Um, my personal opinion on this is I've never cared about the action of divestors. It's more so the one, the hypocrisy, and two, the lies, right? And before some of them will show themselves, but just to go over it real quick, the hypocrisy. I often hear the black women who are we're talking about here say, um, it's they want black men who leave to date out to just date, marry out, and don't bash them on the way out because that's what they would do. Well, for one, they if the dude is rich, they will ask that guy why did he have a black wife, so that's a lie. Then two, again, this is her second video on this, which means she's had enough content on black women saying that they're leaving and why to make the video a part two of it. And then the other lie is about just the fact that every black man or most black men, too many, treat them a certain type of way, and it's like, no, y'all still make videos to this day and post just regular Twitter posts, whatever, that you want a thug. Hell, one lady just went somewhat viral about saying she want a reform prison guy, and then you also still have those of you, most who say they will not date a corny guy, a boring guy, a guy that isn't like the like up there in looks. Not even just saying he's ugly, but just like a regular like type of guy, like the type. And this is really across the board with women in general. But when it comes to black guys, it seems like the only archetype that really gets shown some love is that. You know what I mean? The tall, like Kendra G. Kendra G even has a joke about it, which when they start giving a rundown, she immediately goes, tall, dark, handsome, love. Yeah, the only guy that gets actual on my show. So it's like, well, you can't put a blanket statement on it, black men in general, if you only want to date a specific archetype. And then lastly, when you bring that point up, is usually a rebuttal of, well, I've dated all types. Like, no, the fuck you haven't. It's almost impossible for anybody to date all types. Like that's borderline impossible because your life is not that expensive where you're running to every type of individual that not only you find attractive but they also find you attractive enough to go out on to at least date. You're lying. You are a liar. What they mean, I'm pretty sure, and this is just me guessing, but I'm pretty sure what they mean when they say I've dated all types. That mean they've dated the thug guy, but then they also went to Comic Con with some dude, and it's like, well, see, it's same old hair too. I've dated all of them. Stop. No, you didn't. Stop lying. But let's go ahead and get into the video.
Because every black man I've dated, their type was always exotic.
My wife is beautiful.
No, can we actually talk about the fact that I knew that it was going to be a white man that came onto the screen before it?
So there seems to be an epidemic of young black women on the internet saying that they are no longer going to date black men, or at the very
Think about what she just said. There's an epidemic of black women on the internet saying they will no longer date black men. But why don't you just leave instead of bashing us on your way out? Right? All right.
least they're going to open up their dating pool to other races. And instead of calling
Open. Okay, listen. Unless you all were retarded all this time, nobody, male, female, any race, has ever cut off their best option because of the race. Like, with exception of like some overpowering, like dad or something. But no, generally speaking, for the most part, with exception, nobody has cut off their best option. Stop lying. Stop lying. Your option has always been open. Those of you who can find someone else, do. Those who can't, don't. Like stop. Stop. Good options or wants it by other good options. If you are not getting those good options, then you're just not a good option. Stop acting as if you could just jump ship. I really hate this. I think I told y'all about the 50. No. She wasn't even 50. Excuse me. This lady was in her 40s, but she was a rough ass 40. She was like 42, I believe. I believe she was about 42. And had 4 baby daddies, 4 kids. I told you looks rough. And she was just, excuse me. I've had a horrible itchy throat the last like week and a half. She just went on some rampage talking a lot of shit. Well, I'm just gonna go get me a white man because they know how to blah blah blah. But it's like, lady, you are 42, a rough looking 42, 4 baby daddies. Go ahead. Oh my God. You jumping into another race pool doesn't like come the fuck on. Come, like, stop it. It's and if you compare it to the Passport Bros, I already don't. That's a whole different discussion, but the same rule apply. But then again, you also have to already have the money that y'all say that they want. Like, it's like, this shit is ridiculous. The whole entire conversation is stupid. But let's continue.
Them racist. The internet is agreeing with them. Let's talk about it. Yeah, you better. Guys, if you want to support the work that I'm doing on this channel, I have a Patreon to date black men, or that black men aren't giving them what they want when they are in these dating encounters. We've talked about this in a video once before, and you guys had a lot to say in the comments. We'll get to that, but I want to revisit the idea again because I'm continuously seeing these videos.
Another thing that's really odd about this whole, dating and giving what they want. On one hand, you will hear them say that they kind of want long-term relationships and marriage and all that stuff. But if you ask them, are you willing to not have a whole phase in your life? They will say, most will say no. You must have it. Well, how is anybody not giving you what you want for relationships if you want a whole phase? Like, and at this point, they're saying multiple. You're full of shit. You are full of shit. You don't actually want a relationship. You want someone you consistently can run back to for the good shit. Like, please stop this nonsense. Stop it. You want to bullshit your way through life eventually to some consistency and then get upset that the consistency isn't showing up while you're bullshitting. Oh my God, stop. Stop it. People have been preaching, including you, that you shouldn't get married until you're like 80. But somehow we aren't giving you what you want before then? Yo, dude, make up your fucking mind with this.
Videos. First, let's start off with showing you what I'm finding on these platforms. This first video says, "Ladies, I'm winning. I found a man who speaks to me exactly like this." Let's listen.
My wife is beautiful. You are.
No, can we actually talk about the fact that I knew that I was going to be a white man that came onto the screen before it was the white man on the screen? Because literally, it only feels like white men talk about black women like this.
So she's saying it feels as though white men are the only ones who are going to refer to black women as queens or treat them as such. And I believe that is a very popular audio from the show Bridgerton, which of course shows an interracial relationship between Queen Charlotte and King George. And I've heard this sentiment echoed many a time by other black women. They say, if I want to be treated like a queen, a goddess, I won't go to the black community to find that. And maybe it's because they're so accustomed to other black women and it's just the norm that they don't feel like maybe they are encountering a queen or a goddess. Maybe it's too high of an expectation, but it seems as though it's an expectation that men outside of the black race are willing to meet. And
look at that fucking expectation you're talking about. Queen? What exactly is the mark? You don't answer this question. You never answer this question. What is the mark for that? What is the benchmark for king and queen? This shit is goofy. And then the idea of, oh, you just go to other races and they gladly give you that. Then why is this even a discussion? Shouldn't all of you always be wiped up all the time by somebody who isn't black? I asked a chick today, like, every time I see a chick like you who say this shit, y'all are never married. Her response was, I'm in my 20s, I got time. Then why the fuck are you even having this conversation then? When you also have time to find the black guy who's also on this internet all the time, saying the same shit you're saying, which is black men have to do better for black women. Black men, you know what? Those motherfuckers are single all the time too. All of you are full of shit. All of you. You're full of shit, and this gets aggravating that you just keep putting this horse shit out here. Shut up. You are lying, you're full of shit, and y'all only want to shout out the good parts.
The video we just watched got 110,000 likes on TikTok, meaning this message is resonating with a bunch of people. So we should probably read a few of the comments to see what they think. The first comment has 10,000 likes. It says a lot of people aren't ready for that conversation, but like, dead ass. The next one says, we have begun to realize that black love is struggle love and we deserve to be treated and adored.
Again, it's like the queens we are. Like, how do you even deal with somebody who has that idea about themselves by default? Yo, when we try to tell y'all don't twerk on tables at restaurants, you gave us shit. You went and found other restaurants that said they let us twerk on tables, and we're just supposed to be like, oh, queen behavior. And another thing, when you constantly put on the internet that all they have to do is call you queens and shit, and you feel your just spirits will be uplifted, and then you'll just give them whatever the fuck they want. It kind of makes their approach a lot easier, doesn't it? Doesn't it? And then, real quick, again, one thing, and I know this isn't unique to black women, but if you're constantly telling, like me, I don't have children, but you, like you already know how that conversation goes. That if I say I'd rather not get into that, all of a sudden is, oh well, you're this, you can't say she doesn't do blah blah blah. And it's like, what the fuck am I like? What am you want me to queen that? But of course they're gonna get the upper hand simply because they follow the protocol you've already put on the screen.
Like the queens we are. After that, I immediately knew, and I'm kind of sad about it, not gonna lie. And here's one more just to be thorough. I'm Latina, and I even noticed this too. Y'all deserve the world and to be treated with...
You know, Tommy said something that makes a lot of sense. Y'all are getting treated like the lower tier. He said another word that I'm not going to say, but y'all are being treated like the lower tier. Everybody's coming to your, well, not everybody, but people are coming to your side and saying, hey, treat them like this. But y'all don't do the same thing. Y'all literally did the opposite with Travis Kelce. So why are the two different distinctions there? Why is it that when y'all put out the message of, oh, our men aren't treating us like this, people have to come to y'all defense and say, hey, treat them like that? And if they encounter a guy, I've saw this in comment sections, that a black guy would go somewhere and say, voice that, yeah, I don't date my own race, they have to put a stop to it and say, well, I can't deal with you then, forcing him back to his own race. But again, if any man, because I've actually seen, I think it was Arabic, he was like, oh, black women this, black women that, love black women, blah, 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 blah. They just kind of, in the comment section, said, yeah, he knows what he's talking about, blah. He knows where it's at. Nobody said, oh, well, he's a self-hater or a traitor. He needs to, no, don't deal with him. Y'all won't. That's not a problem. But y'all need to have y'all man pushed back to y'all. They don't like you. They feel sorry for you. And it's really odd that you accept that type of viewpoint from those people. That's really odd.
respect. And before we get into further commentary on this, I just want to say, disclaimer, I know that not all black men are treating women poorly within their relationships, and not all black men are deciding not to meet this standard set by black women. Okay? Let's make that clear. There are good and bad men in every race, and you know what? Women will find them. We know that for sure. But it must be said, I rarely see women of other races who are deciding to hop on the internet making videos like this, singling out the men in their own race, saying, maybe I'm pushing them out of my dating pool and looking elsewhere. Here's another TikTok.
They do verse their opinions. They just don't say the second half of it because, I don't know, maybe they just go out and do it. Like, when you can do something, you kind of just go do it, right? Isn't that what, like, one, I forget exactly how the saying goes, but like, I don't know, something about the quiet person is the person to worry about, or something. Like, okay, so from black women specifically, you hear a lot of when black men get money, they go and date white women. Okay, well, if that's true, assuming they aren't lying or full of shit when they say that, but then you have to ask, well, why aren't these same white women saying, huh, I'm going to go get a black man because I'm white, or a rich black man because I'm white? Why aren't they saying that? Why aren't they announcing it? They're just kind of doing it, right? According to you. So why the announcement and not just doing it?
Video I found with that very same message.
Finding a black man that genuinely desires a dark-skinned woman has been interesting, right? Because every black man I've dated, their type was always exotic, meaning light skin, curly hair. Like, that's not exotic.
Green eyes.
Hello, she's just mixed, babe.
Okay, for one, why the fuck would the wording matter if that's his type? Two, how do you keep ending up with that guy? That wouldn't make sense. So what are you going for? We're not going to acknowledge that. And I think I react to that, actually. You are a dark-skinned woman, but somehow you keep ending up with dudes who don't prefer that. How is that? But also in the clip, she says when she goes to other races, they do prefer that. But we're supposed to give that credibility even though they didn't marry her either. We have to give a fuck. We have to give them more credit for not marrying you than the black man who didn't marry you. No. The fuck?
Just mixed. That's been my experience. But I'm someone who dates outside of my race. I date inside. I date all around. You know, if you fine, you fine. But my experience in dating like European men or white men or just mixed race men or men of different cultures just treat women differently. I've never had to worry about like maybe this man desires a lighter skinned woman when I'm dating outside of my race, or when I'm dating a black man that genuinely desires a dark skinned woman or loves a dark skinned woman.
There it is again.
No. Now think about what she just said. Think about what she just said. So according to what she just said, the white men who date her prefers her dark skin. What is that? What label do you give that? Okay, now rethink of that. What label would you give that if in fact it was a dark skinned man who preferred the white skin that she said she dates in Europe? What would you call it then? Do you see the point there? If you love her skin complexion, no, especially if you're not her skin complexion, oh, you get a bunch of kudo points. But if you are her skin complexion, but likes the white skin complexion, something's wrong with you and you hate yourself. It sounds like we're trying to force feed the idea that you must like dark skin. Don't you think that will put more people off of it than on it? This begging is a huge disservice to people who are in her position. Because now you bring more people like who she says she dates who don't really desire her, because they're probably there for the, well, I guess I got to give it a shot, right? Don't you prefer the genuine people that come your way? No, let's have a think tank about how more people should desire you, because it's wrong not to. Alrighty.
I am curious to actually hear from the black men who may be watching this video. I think there is an element of wanting something that you're not necessarily accustomed to, right? If you're a black man raised in a black family in a black community, you are seeing a lot of black women. So just by virtue of being in the position you're in, they're not exactly exotic or new or, looking like something fresh or different to you. So maybe you would want to explore a relationship with a lighter skinned person or a white person, whatever the case may be, right? There's an element of wanting something different in our lives. And I think we all experience that in one way or another. And maybe black men are experiencing that in the dating pool. But it doesn't necessarily speak to the point that she made about the treatment that she gets elsewhere. She says that she is treated better by boyfriends who are outside of her race as she's had experience dating around in different racial categories. And it makes me wonder if what these women are saying is true, which it could or could not be. Have they identified a real problem within the black community? And if they have, what is causing that problem? Is it that black men are not being taught how to treat women in a respectable relationship? Is it...
Do you see what she just did? Do you see what she just did? She went from, it could be a problem, but if it is, let's think about why. Are they not being raised properly? Are they not being taught properly? Or you don't even know if it's a thing. But you're going to go down the rundown like it is a thing. Okay, all right. Remember, they say you have anger problems, Amala. So I don't know if you do have anger problems, but in case you do, why do you have those anger problems, Amala? Why? Why do you go to sleep with your fist balled up? Why? You see how much horseshit that was, Amala? Let's start over and go from there.
Identified a real problem within the black community? And if they have, what is causing that problem? Is it that black men are not being taught how to treat women in a respectable relationship? Is it that they don't have actual role models of healthy relationships throughout their lives and therefore don't know what that looks like? Is it that they do have perfect models and examples of what this looks like but simply don't care to give that sort of relationship to a black woman? All of these things could be factors. But if what I'm seeing on the internet and the amount of likes and responses and comments that these videos are getting is any indication of what the dating pool is going to look like in a few years from now, it seems like black women are not going to be there to bear the burden of dating black men. If there is one, of course. Now those...
You don't get to do all that and then go, if there is one, of course. That is bullshit and you know it. You know it. At this point, I'm quite sure that Amala's boyfriend is not black. I'm quite sure of that. And this is her way of also promoting the divestiture shit, but like on a slick. On a slick. And here's another thing. This obviously is a victim tactic, right? Because we do know like the black marriage rate for black men, I think is like 33%. For black women is 25%. Both are extremely low. So are you saying by default the black women who are married to black men are going through bad situations and bad treatment? I'm pretty sure you would, but then that would be kind of fucked up on your end to be assuming that about another black woman simply to carry your narrative. That's a shit thing to do. So again, it's like you really gotta figure out when we voice shit like this, we're called low vibration, but somehow you're not low vibration. And another thing that tends to carry this conversation forward for them is the typical, and it's really wild right now. We do so, we meaning black women, we do so well, and then we just gotta settle for these bums, and it's not fair. And it's like, excuse me, who the fuck have? I've been picking up and dropping off at their sister house, who's on Section 8, for the past decade and shit. Do I get to complain that I just gotta deal with bums all the time? Or do you get off the hook with that? That's another thing that feeds this narrative of we're just burdens to them. Like, get the fuck out of here. I really hate this shit. I want to not care, but when you go through this type of bullshit rhetoric, I can't help but to now give a fuck. She has a whole little channel thing and she chooses to usher this shit right in with it. And as you see in that clip we just went through, the if there's a problem, here's what the problem probably comes from. But then, we don't really know if that problem exists. Moving on. Fuck you, Amala.
Last two videos were more serious. We're even seeing this played out comedically on TikTok. Here's a video. The caption on this says, "Me changing my type after years of suffering at the hands of black men." And if you didn't understand what the lyrics were to that song, it was whitey, whitey. If you're black, there's nothing for you. If you're white, there's something for you. And I cannot tell you how many videos there are of black women making this joke about where they're moving when it comes to dating. So it's because...
And it's funny. Remember, it's funny. It's just hilarious. But you take that same song, give it to a black man who said he's been through shit. Is it still funny, or is it just his problem? I'm sick of because they're women, they get to be victims of every fucking thing. Everything.
Its own little micro trend on TikTok that people are playing around with and making jokes about. So something's going on here. And the plot thickens because recently I've seen, and probably you've seen, a Twitter thread that's been circulating about men who hate their girlfriends. This has been all over my social media feed.
I've heard about this. Watch what she does with this shit. I'm not even going to pause it until she gets to the end of it that I want you to see. Watch what she does with a TikTok or Twitter trend. Watch.
With women talking about the different tweets that are in this thread, how abhorrent they are, they're horrendous, this is what men are like in relationships, they secretly hate us, and now they're saying it out loud. Let's read some of the tweets. It says, "That phase where you slowly start hating your girlfriend is crazy. When you keep messing up on purpose so that she can break up with you and she keeps forgiving you, you'll be having a bad day, and when she hugs you, it becomes even worse. You start asking yourself things like, does she have to chew when she eats? When she says good morning, and you just start feeling nauseous. When you open up a text thinking it's from a woman you actually want, but it's from her." You guys get the gist of what this Twitter thread entailed. And of course we can say, like, this is just haha jokes. I'm sure there's stuff on the internet of girls making very similar jokes about their own boyfriends, and I've personally seen it myself.
How are things going?
So good. He's so loyal. Like, sometimes I'm like, I wish he would cheat on me so I'd have a reason to break up with him, you know? He never will, though. Lucky me.
Want to go on a double date next weekend?
Yeah. I think it'll just be me, though. I don't know if he'll be able to make it.
Oh, well, then we can just do a girls thing. How come?
Because I don't want him to be there.
But this created a major discussion about what type of men you should and should not date, and the fact that you could possibly be dating a man who doesn't even like you whatsoever. And I have to point out, in looking through this Twitter thread, I did decide to do a little bit of investigating, look at some of the handles, look at some of the profile pictures, look at some of the memes and the GIFs being used, and yeah, I gotta say, it looks like black Twitter to me. Meaning that it's very possible that this is predominantly black men making jokes like this. And of course, I love comedy. I think it's the final frontier of free speech. There is ample room for jokes, and that's what these very well could be. But if there's anything to be gleaned from these jokes, sometimes there's underlying truth to what people joke.
Did you see that? That tweet she was talking about, I saw somebody else cover it. That tweet had like 5 million views. And you somehow went through it and saw enough of, out of 5 million to go, looks like black men just shitting on black women, you know. Looks like black men just taking shots at black women when they can, you know. That's what it was. Like, you type that into this. You type that into this. That alongside the whole boy math, girl math shit. That was all a bunch of racists. A lot of white people. This and that. But somehow you found a way to go, oh, it looks like black men just fucking over black women. No. Really? God damn, Amala. You are full of shit.
about. And maybe that underlying truth is going through that bit of a disgust phase in your relationship and maybe not liking the partner that you're with or having side chicks and other women that you are more interested in. So either the women making these TikToks have ridiculously high expectations and their radar is off on black men in the black community, or they are onto something and they are pointing out something that maybe needs to be fixed before they re-enter the dating pool with black men. And as I said, we've talked about this subject before on this show, and thousands of you had things to say on the matter, and you really opened up a discussion regarding this new problem, it seems, that's been identified. Many of you agreed with the women in these videos who said this is a distinct issue, and it's a distinct issue within our very own community. Others said, you know what, this is not a distinctly black issue. This is an issue within other races, and we are experiencing this as well. Others spoke from the perspective of being in a relationship with a black man and saying, you know what, he does treat me like a queen. He does treat me like a goddess, and I would love to hear those perspectives as well. I will say, though, that every time I see these videos on the internet talking about this subject matter, I expect to run into the comments and find people saying, this is racist. How could you say this about your community? How could you come after black men in this way? And I find the exact opposite. People agreeing, saying it resonates with them, sharing their own experiences of this sort of struggle love, as it's been coined. So today's video is really about discussion. I want to know how...
That ought to tell you something right there. The women you're talking about, the definition for them of struggle love is not living in bliss 24/7. Again, go watch the Kendra G show. A chick, if she make 150 and you make 80, to her that's struggle love. Like, how can you take that serious? Y'all still make a combined 230, but she will call it struggle love. Hell, if she makes 60 and you make 40, that's 100 grand. She will call that struggle love. Again, the archetype that they tend to go after. It comes with its fun, but it definitely comes with its bullshit. That to her is struggle love. She wants to be able to hoe around until win, but also be courted as if she's just good old goody two shoes fucking version of some shit. And that's struggle love. Listen, Amala, fuck you and all the people who do this bullshit. Cause y'all don't actually have to try to come to this faking you're trying to do of, I just want to understand what's going on. And maybe no, you really feel this way. You don't have the balls to say it.
You feel about the things that these women said in these videos. Do you stand by them? Do you disagree? Is there nuance somewhere in the middle? I'm not currently out there dating, so I don't know what people are up against when they're out there trying to find their partner. But I will say, opening up your dating pool is a good thing, regardless of the reasons why. You never know who you're gonna find out there. To do so on the basis of race may or may not have its merit. You guys let me know down below, but I think it's always a good thing to open yourself up to new people and new experience.
This is her Instagram. There's that friend. There's that friend. Who is that? Who is that? Who is that? That looks white. That looks white. How many black friends does she have? Let's see. I think that's the same one. How many black friends does she have? I'm not watching the whole video. That's not her friend. They did a co-stream together. What character is this? Is that character black? No. I think maybe she has a self-hate problem. You think? You think she has a self-hate problem? I sure do. Got any black friends, Amala? Black. Like black. Like they look like you. Doesn't look like it at all. Not at all. So yeah, I call bullshit on that video. Pure bullshit. You're part of that group that talk they shit, but you want to try to be ever so slick with it, so you're not exactly, can't really be caught out. All right. So real quick, we're already at the 35-minute mark. Just read a few comments. Your government failed you big time. Black Americans, just when you were collectively making some headway, some progress towards legacy, wealth creation, good old Democrats. How is this relevant, sir? Seems to me that black women have been dating the standard black bad boys while ignoring the less extroverted black men. Then when deciding to date white men, they were less selective and accepted some more timid white men that treated them better than the bad boys. It's more of a case of them being bad at selecting men they actually want. One thing that I will say in regards to that, if you look at that video she covered where you like my beautiful, I think wife he said, or whoever the fuck it was. Does the black guy who has that demeanor typically get paid attention to if he ain't got no bread? If he's just like a regular dude, he has that demeanor, does he typically get chosen? It doesn't. I don't think so. Moving on. I'm a half-breed, 50-50 exactly. Trinidadian mother and an English white late father. Oh my God, how long is this? I'm starting in the middle. Fuck that. He was like 6 foot something. He was a very tall man that his sense of humor, he would routinely have her clutching her stomach in laughter. The fact that she said it so casually, not even tiptoeing around the stereotype, opened my eyes to the problem. I also noticed it among my friend groups growing up as well. Regularly bragging about having 3 or more baby mamas like it was some kind of power trip. Was just interested in hearing reasoning than seeing it play out before me. I'm assuming she's talking about the guy who has a bunch of baby mamas. Again, like the previous comment, why do so many of y'all like that guy? That guy most of the time don't got a job, but he can fuck all of y'all and have a baby. But that regular guy who ain't got no pop to him, that still got like his shit in order, nah, that's not good enough. What? All right. Yeah, that okay. Keep your black woman. Okay. All right. My thing is, I see so many women demanding to be called queen while they do the most bum ass shit like cheat, ghost, gaslight, or steal. I would love more than anything to have a woman to treat like the queen of goddess she is, but I'm not going to worship you. Dude, you just undercut yourself. You did. What would be crazy is if the entire world just becomes one mixed. All right, moving on. Let them speak their truth. It doesn't bother me. Many women in journal live in Delulu. I prefer black women, but a lot of them bring undesirable traits and qualities along with them, and what makes it hard to take them places. Oh God, I fucked that up bad. If black women are no longer going to date black men, who is left? For which one? Black men or black women? That's all right. The point you made at 8:30 is so true. One of my favorite quotes about humor is, "For every pound of humor, there's an ounce of truth." All right, Chelsea, go have a seat. Oh crap. I get that these black women, for their own reasons, have decided they don't want to date black men any longer. The question is, who else would date these women? It's not like it's unknown for a male-female salt and pepper team, but it's not nearly as common as the version where the female is white. It's not like it's unknown for the male-female salt and pepper team, but it's not nearly as common as the version where the female is white. So I think he's trying to say that, excuse me, that white men don't date black women as much as white women date black men. I think is what he's trying to say. And he looks to be white. All right. I don't know that. I don't know that stat, and I'm pretty sure I've heard people say that stat loosely, but again, I don't know that stat, so I'll just leave it be. I'm attracted to black women because they actually are intelligent, can communicate, and aren't basic like white women, in my opinion. And he looks to be white himself again. Yeah, only not black dudes can wear some shit like that on their face and get kudos from black women. Dog. I'm not black. However, I don't blame black women for not wanting to date black men, because before I heard about black women not wanting to date black men, I have heard for a long time about how black men don't want to date black women. From who? When, again, it was probably from them. Because when I was growing up, listen, I think I told the story. My mom had this friend that we went to see her in Ohio. We were watching basketball, and Isaiah popped up on screen. He said, he got a white wife, and black men when they get money, they go and get him a white woman. Like that is very commonly said by black women. So who the fuck did you hear it from? Because don't get me wrong. I have heard I'll throw a third one in there. Over the course of my entire life, I've heard rounding up to 3 black men say they don't want black women. 3. I'm 32. Who the fuck? Where? Where are you hearing this from? For me, it was never about race, but about culture and values. Too many men of all races say don't really want a real relationship. They just want a steady source of XXX. While percentages certainly vary by socioeconomic racial class, the attitude can be found everywhere. The people willing to jump racial boundaries in general are more serious about finding a real relationship, hence more likely to treat their prospective partners well. I'll accept that. You want to say that those black women are more serious about finding a relationship, which defaults them to treating the person interested in them better? Okay, fine, but you do realize that still means that she's putting a better foot forward when she sees somebody who don't look like me than she would if I was to step to it. You still have to admit that part. I'll read 3 more. You do have a whole bunch of Asian women picking Western guys over Asian men. Apparently, a lot of them feel like dating the Asian man would feel like dating their brother or something to that extent. I believe it's called a no Asian policy. Okay, I've heard of this, and people have done videos on it, and Asian women are on record saying this exact thing, that it's like their brother. You're full of shit. I don't know what white men did to make y'all think that by default they're better or some shit like that, because their women did invent like this bullshit feminism thing, right? They throw them under the bus too, just like a different way. They said they're oppressive, they are abusive, they keep them. I just did a video about women not being able to get jobs. They blame their men for them not being able to do shit besides fucking babysit and run papers. So like they're also complaining about them as well. So I listen, those y'all full of shit. All right, y'all are full of shit. Anywho, the problem for these women is, I can't speak for all of them, but black, so in particular, seem to be very aggressive. Like, not cutely, so like full on paranoid and violent. You can just tell they feel as black women, some of them have something to prove. Which, as an Asian man, just puts me off, especially the whole culture of we are oppressed. And because I'm a black woman, I can't act a fool. I deserve blah blah blah. Not very attractive. Alright. We're gonna pick one of these as the last one. This was long. I'll do this one. As a black man in pretty much every space of black men or black women online feels like the content of this video to me. YouTube, Reddit, Twitter, Instagram, it's all interracial promotion that's card stacking facts and blaming other side for everything. I rarely hear these conversations in real life, although there's a lot of modern man, modern woman stuff that comes up, but I've watched the leave black women, black men alone propaganda grow in popularity much more each year, and it's concerning how big it's getting. Personally, I think you should date whoever you desire and seek your best interest in that, but the idea isn't what's being promoted 9 out of 10 times when I see black person speaking it on it online. It's usually backed by a lot of vitriol for the other sex of our race. I have no idea where it all even came from. Dude, really? Have you not seen the movies, the news, any media from like the 90s? You see none of it? All right. Oh, that reminds me, real quick. So when Hulu announced that we're doing that documentary, The Freaknik, that was black people. Those are black people. Black men and black women. So you mean to tell me just you only the women who went to Freaknik, the black women who went to Freaknik, are the ones who are not dating out? Because you can't tell me that you enjoy that type of scenery, that type of environment, but you don't like how the men like that will date you. Stop it, you liar. You are that proves it right there. You cannot say you love that environment and you will go year after year, but then, oh, why do they date the same way? Because that's who they are. That's what you like. Damn. It's time for me to go to bed. What do you think? It's definitely what do you think about that lady in the back right there? Be right, not positive. I'm out.